You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 170 of East Central and his favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I am joined by fill-in co-host Zach Burcham, sports desk Chase Peyton, who's going to pay no attention at all tonight because we're recording at the beginning of the sports season. Producer Chris Guffey. Zach, you take over at this point. Why are you here? You have to explain that too.
Well, I'm here because Dakota had some visitors from out of state, and so he's home doing the dad, grandson, father thing. So to fill in for him, we're going to do the Patreon thank yous. Patreon's what keeps the lights on here. It's nice and comfortable. Let's get past it.
Yeah, this is the part where you're such a rookie. This is it's your third time here. I forgive you. You're supposed to introduce Joey and then go back and we do the back and forth thing.
We got Chase. We got Joey Mulinaro from Barstool Sports, who's coming back for his third trip back to the podcast today.
Happy to be here.
And
he's playing the Papa Top game over there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got it.
And we're celebrating the beginning of
Joey. What you have to understand is Chase is never going to wash those keys again. Now that you've touched them,
celebrating the start of all the sports in the same week this year. And so
I'm going to look. Nolan Ryan looks like shit though. You let his hair go, just doesn't look the same. Anyway.
Okay, so go ahead.
That's how out you are on baseball?
It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Gotcha.
Oh, I can't even fathom how long I've... Kirby Puckett might be a name.
That is way back.
Tom Glavine, Greg Maddox.
Okay.
Ron Gant. We got most of the Braves going here.
Oh, yeah. We got because of
Chipper
TBS.
Jones. Yeah.
TBS. John Smoltz.
We got... I could name a lot of Astros.
Okay.
I could go Jim DeShays.
Hey, he's
Bagwell.
the Cubs broadcaster. He's great.
He's from my hometown in New York. My dad and Jim DeShays played Little League together.
I love Jim DeShays, man. He's so good on TV.
We used
That's
to,
awesome.
So we used to go to Catholic church together. And it's one of my mom's favorite stories about me as a kid. And we're going to get back into this stuff in a second. But we used to sit in the row in front of the DeShays family.
Oh, man.
And in my family, he was Ace DeShays. I didn't know his first name. He was Ace DeShays. Right? He's taking first round Yankees, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Pitch for the Twins, pitch for the Astros, all that. So 8-year-old me, Major League Baseball pitcher, sitting behind us, we're gonna straighten up. His wife is looking at my mom and it's like, how the hell do you get your kids to sit like that? It's because
you look at the guy sitting next to you.
Yeah, because of that. And she's like, well, it doesn't work on our kids. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. So yeah, that was the deal. All right. Anyway, shows about our lives in rural Indiana. Here to push your boundaries, make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh. But hopefully you will always learn something new.
And now the Patreon thank yous. It's nice and comfortable in here because the lights are on. The AC is cool. Got to thank the Patreon people for that. And if you can donate at any level, $5 is kind of the base. But unless you want to be like Mason and you want to donate like 32 cents or whatever's in your checking account,
we'll take it.
But if you have $50 or more, you get your name shout out every episode. So Craig DaCosta, all the way from Hawaii. You got Chris Lamb, Christy Avery, and Jonathan Phillips, who's the car sales guy who keeps all the, not me yet, but Dakota.
Someday.
Dakota.
If you listen
Jeremiah.
to the Patreon, you'll know why Zach's ready for a new Tahoe.
Yeah.
Or a new Yukon, I guess.
There's something.
You got to go to the Buick GMC guy. So you have to get a Yukon
Fauci throwing
next.
out the opening?
Yes. He failed miserably.
Oh,
Just
no.
like
That's
he did
bad.
with the COVID.
Oh, no.
Guffey shouldn't have any room to
What
talk because
happened?
he should be posting the BHOL1, the T-chip stores, BHOL1, BHOL2, and BHOL3. He wasn't here the last time I was here. He just took the weekend off or something. So you can look, that's got all the apparel to support the Boss Hog of Liberty, and a little bit of that comes back to the show as well. So that's how you can support the show. And I think you guys are probably still looking for sponsors, aren't you?
Always.
So if you're looking for, if you're interested in sponsoring the show, contact Dakota or Jeremiah, and they'll give you all the information you need about the reach and what kind of downloads and visibility you're going to get with sponsoring the show.
It's an amazing ride. My dad is in the chat reminding everybody that he did hit off of Jim DeShays in Little League.
Nice.
So he's
very
still
good.
remembering that 40 some years later, 50 some years later. Couldn't get him past the lefty, Paul Morrell. Bats left, had trouble, started early.
Yeah.
All right, so Joey's here with us, and the last time you were here, you were like Jersey Johnny's co-host, right?
Yeah.
And I love Jersey Johnny. I hung out with him at the wedding.
Okay, yes.
Had a really good time hanging out with Mr. Samasco.
Indy legend.
Of course.
Yeah.
Guy loves the Colts so much. When they moved to Indianapolis, he left his house in New Jersey and moved here. Right. And he's been on the radio for 25 years on the weekends, and Joey was with him.
Mm-hmm.
But since you were here.
Yeah. That was like February of 2019, I want to say.
Yeah. You had like the most epic holidays. Thanksgiving until March was like this incredible rocket ship to fame. Like your world changed completely.
It did, yeah.
I will leave that as a jumping off point, and you can try to explain, because I will come nowhere close.
No, I mean it was, man, and thanks for having me again. I always love coming out here. It's great studio, great place, great company. But yeah, so me and Ben Polizzi, my buddy, we were here in July of 2018. I came back in like February of 2019, just being in here with myself and you guys. And, I mean, you were along for the grind. You guys were there. You knew that we were just hustling and grinding our way, trying to get noticed, trying to get people to like our stuff and pick up on us a little bit. And, as the old cliche goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, or, there's different, it takes time, and, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of, doubting and questioning, and my wife keep pushing me, thankfully, and not being like, hey, what are you doing? This is dumb. Let's get rid of this and just like go make some actual money. And then all of a sudden, I just like caught my break on Thanksgiving of this past year. I did a Nick Saban impression. I was like, oh, this will be fun. People will probably, some people will say like, oh yeah, it's funny. Some people will be like, oh no, that sucks. But I didn't think it would do what it did. And, then all of a sudden I find myself, on Thanksgiving afternoon at my grandparents, and ESPN's tweeting it out and Barstool's tweeting it out. And then all of a sudden I've jumped to past 10,000 followers in a day. And I'm like, what is going on? Like after I hit 10,000 followers on Thanksgiving Day, I was like,
what's better? Yeah.
I'm at 10K, baby.
I've got turkey
insane.
at 10,000. I'm good.
It was incredible.
And now you're at like 200 million.
No, but from that point, it was just like, keep going. And I kept creating and doing different things, trying different impressions, trying different videos. I had Coach Orgeron from LSU. A couple of his did really well. People seemed to like those. And then on Christmas, you mentioned the holidays. It was funny. So Thanksgiving, I had a Saban. And then Christmas Day, after we got done opening up gifts and everything in the afternoon, I did another Saban of him opening up gifts.
You do press conferences generally. You have angry Nick Saban and press conferences.
Sure, it was just like Nick Saban after opening Christmas gifts or something like that, and it was just like 40 seconds of him just ripping to people in his family about how he doesn't have time to take things back, and he doesn't really like this gift, and yada yada. And then all of a sudden, before I know it, that has like 3.5 million hits on Christmas Day. I'm like, what? This is insane. And so from that point, it just kept rolling, man. And I got to go to the national championship and January.
You were a guest of Twitter, right? Like,
yeah, actually,
like the Twitter invited you.
Literally, it was I for sure thought it was like some sort of like Persian prince like, online scam thing, because I get a tweet and it's like, hey Joey, check your DMs. I have a cool opportunity for you or something. And I was like, okay, this person will like pitch me to like do a podcast or like send me a t-shirt or something. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't think, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, hey man, what's up? He sends back. He's like, I'm such and such from Twitter Sports, and we love what you do, and we want to offer you a trip to the national championship with a hotel and tickets on us to stay in a suite and all this. I was like, literally my first response is like, Okay. Well,
Hey, Riley, we're getting catfish. Let's follow.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, do you need my like social security number next, or what's going on here? You know, like, and finally I looked him up, did a little bit more research, and everything was real. And so then literally that was the Monday before the national championship. So in a week's time, then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'm going to New Orleans next week. And so that was crazy. And then from that point, again, just kept going and going.
Now,
and
when that
more.
is that the moment where you get your blue check mark in the suite? They're like, "Here's the paperwork, sir." Now you are verified.
Did you get like a plaque?
They took me in a side closet and they examined everything about my life, and I had to pass a questionnaire, and then they were like, "Okay, you're verified." No, but I wasn't verified at that point, and then over the next 2 months,
like the ultimate class thing, and like in the Twitter suite, right? Like you get this different name badge. It's like if you're verified, you get a pre-printed name badge, and if you're unverified, you have the one that they hand drew that says just Joey.
But it was wild. So in that suite, like Dude Perfect, those guys who do all the trick shots, they were in there.
They're just playing beer pong over on the railing.
You meet Drew Brees that night?
I met Drew Brees that night. So we're in there, and I peek my head outside the suite because I was like looking for a charger or something. I don't remember. And I looked down the hallway, and there's like 4 little like blonde kids all wearing Joe Burrow jerseys. So I'm like, oh, that's Drew Brees' kids. And just because I've seen them on social media and everything.
Because you're creepy like us.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I mentioned to somebody in my suite, I was like, Drew Brees right over there? And they're like, yeah, he's actually going to stop by our suite and say hey. And I was like, oh, okay. Another perk. I love Drew Brees. Literally right after they said that, Drew Brees walks in the door. I'm the first person that he sees. So
you're the welcoming committee.
I'm like, I'm not just going to like turn my head to Drew Brees. So I'm like, Drew Brees, what's going on? I literally said his full name. I was like, Drew Brees, what's going on, man? He's like, hey, what's up, buddy? Like shook my hand. Don't know who the hell I was. And so then I was lucky enough that the Saints director of social media was in my suite as well. So he was like, and he recognized me from like the Kocho impressions and everything. And he was like,
obviously big in Louisiana.
Yes. Yeah.
Good place to be.
Right. So yeah, we're in the Superdome. And so he's like, dude, we got to get you and Drew doing a video. I was like, I don't want to bother him. Like these got people all over you know what I mean? And I was like, the last thing he's going to want to do is like do a video, you know? And he's like, no, man, I work with him every day. He's great. Like it'll be great. And I was like, okay, you do it though. I'm not going to approach him. Like if we're going to do this, you do it. And then I'll be like, oh, we're doing it. Okay. So he approached him, was like, Drew, this is introduced me. And he was like, oh yeah, I already met him because he remembered it. And he was like, no. You need to do a video. You need to do a Kocho together. And he was like, oh, you do a Kocho? And I was like, yeah. And so they filmed us and 3, 2, 1, and we hit him with it. And then I like gained his respect. I felt like, cause like after we did it, he like thought it was funny and he gave me like a bro hug. He was like, oh, I love it, man. That was great. And I was like, oh man, it's the best night of my life. Drew Brees, the coolest guy ever.
Did you happen to drop the, hey, my wife's a Purdue cheerleader?
I did.
Yeah. I was going to say that. I would go there immediately.
That's right. That was like one of the initial. So after he reintroduced me, I was like, Drew, like big fan, man, Indiana guy, like me, my wife cheered at Purdue. We're Boilers. And he was like, oh, hell yeah, Boiler up. And so that won him over a little bit. And then, we hit him with the go Tigers. And then all of a sudden it was, he really respected it, I think. But, yeah, from then that point on, and then the combine was in town in Indy, like it always is, like a month and a half later. And that's where I kind of got to like, really start connecting with the different NFL people and the Pardon My Take guys who were in town like they always are. And then that's where the connection came from Barstool. And then like a week later, I was on a plane to New York.
So I watched that video as soon as it released. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, he's going to do something with him. And then like you said, 2 weeks later, it was boom.
Yeah. So that day after we collabed and did some videos together, Big Cat, Barstool Big Cat, my guy, we talked for a little bit afterwards, and he gave my information to Dave Portnoy, and it was actually funny. I haven't told this story very very much because I don't want to make Dave look bad. But later that afternoon, I get a text from Portnoy, and he says, "Hey Nick, it's Dave from Barstool." And so he called me Nick the first time I said it. And I was like, I went back and forth for a while because I was like, I want him to know that that's not my name, but I don't.
You could be Nick forever.
Yeah. But like, I don't want to show him up or like make him look bad. And so finally I went, I was like, hey, yeah, I was like, this is Joey. I don't know if I forget what I said, but I was just like, this is Joey. I don't know if you got lost in the shuffle, but yeah, absolutely. Would love to talk. And then he was like, all right, well, I apologize for the bad start. I'm going to put that on Big Cat for giving me the wrong name. And I was like, okay, cool. So then we talked later that night. And like I said, we were on a plane to New York the next week. So
that's amazing.
Pretty wild. Pretty wild.
In the seminal moment at all of this was Andrew Luck quitting on us. The worst day in every Colts fan's life was when you had to branch out.
I had to branch out, and that was on my bachelor party. It was a Saturday of my bachelor party. So me and 20 other of my best, close to 20, we're in this 3-story place in Wrigleyville in downtown Chicago, having a great time. We just finished the Cubs game on a rooftop, like living just the best life and getting ready to go out. And then all of a sudden, my buddy, I'll never forget it. We were out on the back patio, and my buddy just runs from the kitchen. Is like, no. And we're like, I was like, who died? Like,
if you're listening outside of Indianapolis, this is like on par with Kennedy assassination for people.
I was in the.
You remember when and where?
I was in the stadium that day.
Yeah.
And I get the notification. I think, oh man, this has to be fake.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, it's not fake. And then I just slowly look around.
What reactions everybody feeling? They booed him out of the stadium. That was still is a huge thing in indie sports radio. The debate of booing or not booing, but yeah, so he runs out, he's like, no, and I'm like, oh my god, we're under attack or somebody just died. And he shows us all his phone, and it's just that tweet from Shefty. I never forget how he said it. He was like, Andrew Luck is he informed the Colts he's retiring, like he's had enough, and he decided to bow out. And I was like, oh my god, man, I had my buddies like throwing trash cans, like kicking in the holes and I'm like, guys, we're renting this place. We can't destroy it too much. And so we didn't even go out that night. It totally ruined. I mean, it went out.
It was Sarah's birthday weekend. We were at Charlestown State Park down outside of Louisville. And I was having the greatest night ever. We're sitting there by the fire. I've got the IndyCar race on. The IndyCars were at Gateway that night. It was a Saturday night. And I get on my phone. I'm like, oh my God, we have to change the channel. We have to watch this stupid preseason game because the world just ended.
I was midway through the Indy. I was at Gateway, and so you could kind of get Twitter to work sometimes, but you couldn't quite.
Look at us. We were all at places.
There were too many people.
I was at the Indy Fuel game.
There were too many people there, and so I was like, April. I was like, well, she's like, well, I was like, Andrew Luck's retiring. I was like, this is not good. But yeah, we were someplace where nobody cared either.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't in an area where anybody really noticed. Although it was probably a lot of Indy people there. But,
yeah, for sure.
But I can't remember if they said. I think you could hear it kind of going around the grandstands a little bit, but.
Well, what's funny too is that so one of my very good friends, he's how should I say, he's brash, like he's so he's very like in your face kind of, and I literally probably like 40 minutes before the Luck news broke, we're all sitting in there like drinking, shooting the shit about football, debating about like, well, what will the Colts win the division this year, blah blah blah, and my dad was like, I don't think they will. And my buddy, who I'm talking about, was like, I'll bet you $100 right now Colts will win the division. Right now, I bet you $100. My dad was like, okay, I'll take that bet. Then 40 minutes later, Luck retires. And so now my dad still, every time he sees that buddy of mine, is just like, where's my money, man? It's pretty funny. Yeah.
Oh, it was, man.
Tough times.
Once the bet is in, it is in.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah, I know.
So I think my favorite impersonation of yours is Colin Coward. That one's my favorite. When you do
Thanks,
the butt
man.
Colin, I lose it every time.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I posted a video about it today, and so Erica Nardini, my boss, CEO of Barstool, she went on Cowherd's like Saturday special podcast where he kind of breaks free from his regular programming. It's just essentially like an extra piece of content. And at the very end, she was like, "Did you know that we have a Barstool or do you know that we have an impersonator of yours like with Barstool?" And
we pay somebody just to sound like you, Colin.
Yeah, and Cowherd, he kind of snubbed me a little bit because he was like, "Oh yeah, it's Joey something." He didn't know my name, and I was like, he was like, "God, he's so funny." Yeah, and I was like, come on, man. And so I'm Joey something to Colin Cowherd.
It is the coolest part to me is when the family members start telling you, yeah, you're on track. I think his daughter and maybe the Saban's daughter also were, pointing it out or that's got to feel good. Like, you've hit home when the family members are like, yeah, this is funny.
Very, very much so. Yeah. Those have been two big ones. That's like, yeah, like you said, I mean, obviously they're around them, the most of everybody. So when they're on board, it's funny. I've had a few people who are in Kocho's circle who have, reached out and, they're like, Kocho loves your shit. And he's like, he especially loves when you make fun of Saban too. So I was like, of course, I'd gladly will keep doing that for Kocho. So I'm an adopted LSU fan. Go Tigers. People give me a lot of crap about it. I fully admit I'll jump on the bandwagon. I don't care. People are weird about fandom in sports. It's a very odd thing of like, if you're not born and raised in the play, if you don't root for the team that you're born and raised in the place of, and like if your team is good, then everybody just thinks you're a bandwagoner.
You were getting shit about Steelers yesterday on Twitter.
I mean, it's insane. Every day. I can't tweet about the Cubs or the Steelers. I've literally my whole entire life.
You're an Indianapolis guy. You cannot like the Steelers. It's wrong. There's no link. It's impossible.
It's the most and especially with the Cubs when people are like, "How do you like the Cubs?" I'm like, "There's not a Major League Baseball representative." I could like the San Francisco Giants. There's no team.
People are always like, "What do you like the Yankees? You just jumped on the bandwagon." I was like, "My grandpa loved Mickey Mantle." Like,
dude, if you pay enough attention around here, drive around, you'd think we're a suburb of Chicago based on the number of Cubs flags, license plates, stickers you see on cars. Because that's the only baseball team around here to like.
A lot of Reds fans. A lot of Reds fans.
Reds. There's some Cardinals. Unfortunately, some White Sox people, but
they're the rare exception.
You're a Bear.
I'm a Bears fan.
You're a Bears fan.
I have the mixed cities.
You feel me though? I swear I do not. Anybody could come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a fan of these." Cool, man. Good for you. That's what you like to root for and watch. Good for you. I
am full bandwagon baseball. Don't really. When the Rays were good, I was all Rays, right? I watched the Yankees and Rays play down at the Trop, all in. Evan Longoria, there's another name for you.
Nice.
Yeah. I had the Longoria shirt. I was in. But, But going back, Houston, I don't care if they're the Asterix or not. My childhood team, they won. So,
that's fine. No, they're a bunch of douchebags. I hope they get hit every pitch.
I once again, my baseball my baseball mind is it's all from when you're 10 years old, right? So I still can't understand how in the hell they shouldn't. The American League NL thing with them is like the Seahawks and the AFC NFC.
Oh,
it blows my mind.
That is wild.
They don't belong
because
there.
they were Cubs rivals for a long time.
Yeah,
now Central back.
Yeah,
in the day.
they were the NL. Growing up, they were the NL. That Jim had to hit all that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Totally different now. How the hell they played the Dodgers in the World Series just cracks me.
That was weird, but I mean, this is typically more of a political show. What I always compare it to in terms of like, because I don't care if people bandwagon. I just don't care about who you root for, when you root for them. I think it's completely asinine when grown men get that upset at other grown men for rooting for dudes who are like 10 years younger than them. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. But what I compare it to is like, of course there's going to be more fans, like bandwagon fans, when a team is being successful. It's just like with political candidates, like in election years, all of a sudden you're going to see like more Pete Buttigieg like stickers, or well, not anymore, but like, you know what I mean? Like 2 years ago, you're not going to see that. But when it's more prominent, when things are happening right now, when it's more of a story and it's like right in front of your face, yes, you're going to see more people like putting signs in their yards, putting stickers on their cars. Like it's just, it's something obviously I'm very passionate about because I think it's completely stupid, but
it's like,
example.
I'm a Notre Dame fan, but how can you not like LSU last year? You got Kocho, you got Joe Burrow. I mean,
it's a great story, man. There's a lot of cool dudes on the team. I mean, how can you not like Kocho? Like, unless you're an Alabama fan, or I guess a Clemson fan, you can't not like that guy.
Did you see that video of him running down the street shirtless?
Oh, of course.
He could beat the shit out of me.
Well, running is an asterisk. He was more like
it was
a brisk walk with his arms moving. You know, like it wasn't
True.
much of that. But of course, with his friend Ray Baker. That's what he calls his son.
You said something that tweaked me a second ago, and the guys are all 10 years younger than you. Mm-hmm. Zach and I are the same age now, and we are right at that point, 37, 38, where it's like there's there's barely a guy left in pro sports that's our age.
Oh yeah, I can barely.
Right. Like other than Vinatieri, like you're starting to look around and now it's like, well, Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers are older than me. Like, but
Drew Brees.
yeah, I mean, you're getting
Big Ben.
there's a few, you're down to the 5% of the guys that are left they're damn good, right? They're there for a reason. It's the run of the mill guy that's 27 that's going to have a 3-year career in the NFL is gone.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's been like,
Because you're at that age now in your life where it's like if somebody's your peer, the guys your age are either they're peaking out or they're going to be all-stars. They're going to be Hall of Famers.
Yes, exactly. Like all the best players in the NFL are much younger than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, being a huge college football guy, it's like, half these kids can't even buy booze legally, and that's very weird. But it hasn't been as weird of an adjustment as I thought it would have been when I was like 18. I was always like, that's going to be odd when I'm rooting for somebody who's younger than me like that. But, it's just a totally different realm. You don't even think about it when you're like rooting for them on the field. And
in our town, high school sports are huge, right? In Newcastle, we've got the world's largest high school.
Of course.
So it doesn't strike us as weird when you have a 70-year-old dude that shows up and knows everything that's going on in the 16-year-old boy's world. Like it's I don't know. It probably depends upon the culture. And if you're in a high school town, a college, if you're in Columbus, Ohio, then all the time, right?
Yeah.
Always about the Crimson.
Yep.
And then in my mind, I think more pro sports. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah. And it's like even with, like IndyCar drivers, I mean, some of them are it's different because
it's a little wider spread.
It is wider spread, but some of them are my age and you got a lot of guys that are definitely younger than me. And, but then you have
Colton Herta's in the top 5, won 2 races last year. He's 19 years old. And you've got Scott Dixon who turned 40 yesterday, who's winning every race.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And if you look at the NASCAR Cup Series, which I'd love an update over there on Fake Sports Desk from producer Chris, Kevin Harvick is like 45 and he's the most dominant guy in the series right now too. So you can be 50 and win races in NASCAR.
I was like, Shaq retired and I was like, I remember when he was a rookie. I remember when Peyton Peyton Manning was like the hot new player. Like, oh, look at this. I was like, he's gone. Like I
remember Kobe coming out of high school, straight in. Because we went through the era of Jonathan Bender and Kobe and all of those guys coming straight into the NBA. Right. And now that's ancient history.
I mean, the fact that LeBron's getting pretty old for the NBA still. That really hits you because when he came in, he never looked 18. Like some of those guys come in, they come in out of high school and they look like high school players. They're trying to play basketball. Yeah, I opened myself up. But like LeBron came in and he was kind of like that new breed of player that was, the size of a power forward, but was playing like a guard.
Well, now he's got a kid that is annoying, but is like 15 or 16 years old. And, ESPN and Bleacher Report can't stop reporting on the dances that his son Bronny does. So that's how old LeBron is that his son is now like, will LeBron and Bronny get to play in the NBA together? And that's, like a legit conversation that people have, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, 4 years. You'd have to get 4 years, right? 4 to 5 more years, maybe.
Because he's like, I think he's going to be, so he at least has to do 1 year out of high school. So I don't, but to be honest, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but I don't think he's that good. Like, I don't think he's going to be the capability
one-on-one him or LaMelo.
Oh, LaMelo for sure. Yeah, LaMelo's a little bit older, but yeah. That's just my opinion. Not a big Bronny guy.
Greg Oden wasn't that good either, but he got to the NBA.
Yeah. Well, Bronny's not 7-1 or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing here I want to work in, then we're gonna start moving past.
Yeah.
We got a formal request from intern Mason.
Yeah.
That you follow him on Twitter because he wants credit back at the Draper where he works. He wants street cred of being followed.
What's his name? What Mason? What?
I think he's ROTT 442.
Yeah, something like that.
4412. ROTT
442. I want to say that. I want
442.
And if
Mason
that's not
Rottinghouse.
that's our boy.
Just got him.
All right.
Follow. There
and then
it is.
and then we can't. I told Mason that he would have to send a
cool profile.
He would have to send.
Looks like they're having a good time. Somebody's passed out in a camper chair.
Oh, that was 8,500 last year.
I was going to say it.
Picture.
Yeah, it looks like it would be taking place
the
out there.
Infield. I told Mason, I said, this sounds like you're asking for, you're getting his DMs and you're going to ask for nudes. And then Sarah had to remind me that you had the live nude sign in your registry and I tried to buy it. We tried to buy it for you guys and it was already gone.
Yes. Some of my work friends hopped on that and that's still hanging proudly in my den. No. So
that is fantastic.
Much to the dismay of my wife, but she's a good sport.
Instead, we got you some knives or toiletries or something.
Yeah. So Mason, there you go. Got to follow.
There you go. Chase, you're out of luck. You have to earn it.
Well, I just looked. What's your? It's okay.
I'll be honest, Joey.
Okay.
I love your shit.
Thank you.
And I'd love you to follow me, but you don't have to because
I should have followed you already. Sometimes, honestly, like that, and it's bad. But just like sometimes people will be like, "Oh, thanks for the follow back, finally," and it's like,
that's okay.
I'm like, man,
I was personally offended when Joey unfriended me on Facebook, and then I realized, oh no, he's just off Facebook, and that happens too. I understand. That
yes.
too.
Oh my God, I did not mean to do that. I had to. I just followed you. It got to the point with Facebook that I was like lucky to maybe see one of your posts. Like everything else was
overwhelmed, right?
Well, everything else was just like random people. Like I don't know why the algorithm of Facebook like brings up every like chick that you hated when you were 16 years old, and like that like keeps bringing them back in your life. But that's like all it was, and so I just said, you know what? I got to start over here. And so I just
might be part of one of those psych experiments that they're doing. They're trying to see if they can manipulate your mood by let's just feed them a bunch of stuff just to see what happens.
It could have been.
Sometimes, they do. Yeah, the algorithms are just
very much so. And I was like, what? None of these people who are on my timeline are like even remotely close to people that I interact with at all.
Yeah, they're not my people anymore.
And so now it's been great. Now I have I think 77 friends. And it's all just like
people you interact with and know.
Most people that exactly.
Yeah.
It's great.
A cleansing is not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's really
at
not.
all.
It really isn't.
You're like, oh yeah, we went to elementary school together. Or yeah, I knew. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. It really does keep me in touch with a lot of people that I wouldn't be otherwise. Right. So I don't criticize it, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, you're pissed about masks or you're, right. You don't like whatever's going on in California right now. And you're like, I don't need to know that.
That's it's I've been we all have those relatives, right?
Oh god. I have relatives I've never met that tweet that send me every day, 5-10 times a day, the IMs of all of the stuff I need to know. And I'm like,
listen, if you didn't talk to your family, you wouldn't have this problem.
So you're getting pretty famous.
And it was a quick turn.
He's trying to get us back on track. Is this going to be an ad read?
No, you're getting pretty famous. I'm a faithful click. I always hit the heart button when I see your shit.
Thank you.
And sometimes I check the comments, and a lot of them are he don't miss.
What
I was worried about, or what I was wondering about, is you ever get something and you're like, man, that's really mean.
Oh, dude, all the time, man. I mean, holy cow! Like, yes. I mean, my there was a while there when everything kind of started going down. In January, and I was just kind of getting used to everything, and then I hadn't figured out how to mute certain notifications, right? So I was just getting everybody's thoughts, and
just a constant stream of crazy.
And I've since learned, but I mean, just yesterday, for example, some dude just comments on something I posted 4 posts ago on Instagram, and is like, "Has he ever done anything funny?" ... And so I get that stuff all the time. I mean, mostly on Instagram, I would get some crazy shit on Instagram. People will literally DM me and be like, "You're my least favorite person on the face of the earth." I'm like, I mean, there's Al Qaeda and there's a lot of bad, Kim Jong-un, wherever you land politically, and I'm the worst one. I mean, people are crazy. So, yes, I do get bad stuff. I do get mean comments. The comments on Barstool, whenever we get posted on, wherever I get posted on there, I don't care if it's the funniest video that's ever been produced. People will inevitably just totally rip my ass. And so that's weird. And that's kind of tough. But, it's part of the territory, I guess. So. And at the end of the day, whenever I see it and I click on that person's profile, they have 98 followers and a picture of a dog as their thing, and it's all right, man. I mean, I don't mean to be that guy, but if Jimmy Fallon thinks I'm funny, I'm more concerned about that than I am about you. So it is what it is. Yeah, but.
If you need Mason to take care of anyone, we'll send.
Well, it's like I didn't, you went so long with like people who were so supportive and is very lucky. And then all of a sudden, like once you hit a certain point, then doesn't matter what it is. It's just like you get the people who just hate you. And it's very weird. But hey, again, it just comes with the territory.
I just sent out a picture of Joey. You're wearing a very unique shirt. It's November 2nd, 2016.
Yes.
Which is obviously the celebration of my brother's 30th birthday party. He turned 30 on that day. So I thought that was really nice of you to wear a shirt celebrating that epic party we had.
Well, what a glorious day for him.
Yeah.
He also just so happens to share a 30th birthday with the day that the Cubs won the World Series.
Oh, no shit.
I lost $20 that day.
So, this is my folks at Obvious Shirts. They make great stuff, and give them a little plug here. But they sent me this, and I love to rock it, especially with opening day tomorrow for the Cubbies. So
that's very cool. I got the reference. I knew immediately what it was going to be.
Yep.
It took me a minute to go, why the hell would he wear that? And I said, oh yeah,
a lot. Yeah, it's funny. And
you guys are kind of in a slump though. It's been 4 years now. You ever going to win again?
It's like Jersey Johnny used to always say it to me. He'd always just be like, I mean, you went so long without winning. Do you want another one? Or are you fine with one? And I was like, I mean, the one is good, but I'm ready to go again.
Prefer not to wait 100 years.
Yeah, I was like,
I'll be honest. Like, I don't have anything against the Cubs. My girlfriend's brother-in-law, he's a huge Cubs fan. We went for his bachelor party.
Sounds a lot
year.
like this guy I know. What?
But hold on. Well, he's basically my brother-in-law, but he's not officially.
Yeah.
So, you made me lose my train of thought.
He loves the Cubs.
So I didn't want them to win so early in my lifetime. I
wanted to drag this out.
I wanted them to
another generation.
I wanted them to drag it out like 30 more years, but I did want to see them win, just not so soon.
Okay, I mean, I'm like this. I'm kind of torn here because you didn't want to see him win in 2016, but you did eventually want to see him win.
Yeah.
So I can't be too mad at you. But yeah, it's like I say it to a lot of people. They're like, oh man, being a Cubs fan, that must be pretty tough. And I'm like, not in my lifetime. I mean, in my lifetime, we've been 5 outs away from the World Series. We've won consecutive division titles. Been in the playoffs. Like
it's been fun.
We've had our run 3 straight NLCS, win a World Series. I'm like, I mean, overall, in my lifetime, it's been pretty great to be a Cubs fan. So
I mean, if you're 20 years old and you're a Red Sox fan, it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh,
You're like,
my God.
I'm a dynasty. What? I mean,
curse.
Sorry
curse
you guys
the Bambino?
suffered so much.
Oh
Yeah.
man, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm very spoiled as a Cubs fan.
Chase, for insulting Joey like that, I just want you to sit there and think about Super Bowl 41 for a while, and we'll get back to you.
Big Ben's looking pretty good.
He's looking great. He's looking slim. I got the Slim Ben shirts up. He's going to be good. He looks younger than ever, skinnier than ever.
Did he shave?
He shaved his beard, but he does look thin. He looks in shape, so that's good.
All right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's weird because usually around this is like my favorite time of the year because you're getting ready for fantasy football.
Yep.
Training all the best sports are about to happen. Playoff baseball, but now like baseball's just starting up, so I get this like spring vibe, and I don't know if football is going to start on time, so I don't know when I'm going to start my fantasy football. So I don't know what to feel right now.
So conflicted. The whole rhythm of 2020 has been just crazy.
Wait,
right?
There's no rhythm to 2020.
The rhythm is a disaster, and we're going to talk about all the sports happening at once. That is on the itinerary, but I'm going to try to bust through a couple of things really quickly.
Yeah.
Masks are required in Indiana, and that was foreshadowed by the Indy 500 announcement the day before that we're supposed to wear our masks at the Speedway. What do you got? What's it say?
This is actually from Anthony Calhoun's golf outing.
Name dropping. You guys raised like $250,000 this week.
It was great. It was a great outing. Chatham Hills is awesome. AC's the man. But I got my mask. I'm ready.
How was Johnny Manziel?
Johnny Football was great. He was Johnny Football. He's got a lot of tattoos now. I like tattoos, so it's not a thing. I was just like, whoa, okay. But he was a really good dude, so it's good to meet him. But I'm ready to go in case we need to strap him on. In case Governor Holcomb comes around.
We may have to. So that was the thing is the governor made this big announcement yesterday. Nobody really, I guess it was understandable that every state around us had the announcement, but Indiana went ahead and did it, and it wasn't really leaked out. I wasn't expecting it, and all of a sudden he made the announcement in a press conference yesterday. And then later that night, the attorney general, the lame duck attorney general, Spangle pointed out to us, he said, no, that's not legal. It's not going to work. And then he got the big FU from over every small town police department and sheriff's department in Indiana saying, we're not enforcing this. So now we've got this big fight over whether masks are required or not. And
perfect.
I don't know. The way I look at it, he had the executive order. Now there's talk of, hey, they need to have there's a lot of legalities. And I think eventually the legal side of this is going to end up in court, and they're going to decide how powerful the governor is or not, which is a nice science experiment later for the political side. Short term, I think he did it because everybody else did, and it was politically expedient to do it. But I think Walmart made this decision last week for everybody when they made it statewide.
If anything else, he's covering for Walmart, the IMS with the track, because I know that even our local sheriff's department said we're not going to enforce this, but if a local business says they want you to wear a mask in their business and you refuse to leave after they tell you to,
now you're trespassing.
Then they can call us and we will enforce that. But they said they're not going to enforce it just out in public. So
I'll be honest, like I was on the side where, hey, you should wear a mask if you go to Walmart, blah blah blah. I would wear my mask if I felt like I needed to. But now I just don't want to wear a mask because they're telling me I have to.
Now you want to protest. Now it's a sign of weakness.
I don't know. I mean, living in downtown Indy, it's like
it's a different feeling for you in a town of 1 million people than here we have 20,000.
Exactly. And I totally respect that difference. And I think, I'm just one of those people that like, it doesn't bother me when I'm downtown Indy. Like if that's what I have to do in order to be able to have football in September's on Saturday or whatever it is, right? Or just like I would rather just like bite the bullet, if you will, for this month or 2 months and just do it, and just so we can get back to normalcy. You know what I mean? And so that's my thing is like I get. People want to say like, oh, well, that's not, it's my right to be able to make the decision, blah, blah, blah. Sure. But to me, in my opinion, I'm just like, man, if it's just like, if you're just doing it to just go into Walmart or like go to Starbucks.
If this is all I have to do, right?
If this is all I have to do to help the greater good, to make it to where we can just like get back to our lives to where we can just not have to do it and have everything that we wanted and missed during all this craziness, I'm just going to do it.
Somebody point out this could be the alternative to another stay-at-home order. And so if this stops another stay-at-home order, then they're like, sign me up. Like, I'll wear a mask if it means that we don't have to shut everything down.
Yeah.
Because it's a situation where like all the sports are getting started. We're finally finding a way to get things moving, even if in some cases it's, it's very different. But all of a sudden all the numbers are up too. So it's like, if they're going to shut all this stuff back down again, it's just like, just wear the mask. And North Carolina already did. They mandated it the Friday before we got there. And for the most part, like all the businesses were very compliant. But around time, if you were in like a gas station, then it was just like, no, nobody had them on. But it wasn't that bad. We got carry out the entire week. And we're like, hey, we'll take the food home, and we wore them to go get ice cream or whatever, and then leave and take them off. So,
that's like an Indy, and it kind of feels dumb, when we're doing it. But at the same time, it's like it's not that bad, like you said, because like you can still go into a bar, right? Well, they just made it today. They changed today if they don't serve food, but you can still go into a restaurant or whatever it is. And when you enter, you have to have the mask. And like, if you go to the bathroom, you have to wear a mask. But when you're at your table,
it's normal.
It's normal.
I was at a restaurant before I came here, and we wore the mask, sat down at a table, took it off, and then I put it back on. So to go out to eat, I had to wear a mask for about 90 seconds.
We did the same thing. Sarah and I have traveled a bit, and in June we did a week-long 10-day trip to New York State, and their restaurants were reopening like at the very end of the trip we were there, and it was the same deal. Put your mask on, go inside. They did a little list of, hey, who's in your party? What's your phone number? In case there's a problem, we can come back and track you down. And then once you're seated at your table, you can take your mask off. No big deal. It's fine. And I have no problem if a restaurant wants to do that. My problem is when the state comes in and says, hey, we're going to pass this rule, and we expect the Henry County Sheriff's Department to have to enforce this rule. And now guys with guns have to go make something violent. It doesn't have to be violent. When I think the problem was really solved, if you went to Walmart 2 days ago, everybody's wearing their mask at Walmart because Walmart's saying you're not coming in if you don't have your mask on, right? And man, so goes Walmart, so goes the nation. Like it literally, as soon as Walmart made that decision, everybody's like, "Yep, masks." That
Same
was
with Starbucks too.
Yeah.
Like the one even before the citywide mandate happened in the beginning of July. I have a Starbucks on Mass Ave that's a couple blocks away from where I live, and every morning after I do whatever I do, I start my day going over there and getting some coffee. And their thing the entire time has been, can't come inside unless you have a mask to get your stuff. Everybody in there has a mask getting their coffee. So you know, to your point.
It's just the dress code, right? It's what you got to do. And it's been a progression of getting used to it. And they give them to us at work for whatever we needed. If we needed more at the office, we want them for our personal life. So we're safe and healthy. And you'd wear it, and I'd go to the Rural King, and I'd be the only person in Rural King wearing a mask, right? And then it's like,
looks like,
you're like,
what's wrong with you?
Why are you? Are you sick?
See, I had the opposite experience because the Kroger that's a block away from where me and my wife live downtown. Probably March, April, before it was really like, okay, you need to wear a mask. You know, we'd go in there and everybody had a mask
except for you, and you're getting daggers.
And people are, oh my Lord! I mean, people even had like plastic gloves, and I was like, okay, we need to figure something out here. So
peer pressure got you, right? And once it gets to a certain point, you're like, I got to wear it.
Yeah.
So our New York trip was formative to me because everybody was doing it. Mm-hmm. So if I forgot my mask in the car, I wrote to somebody else, I'd just say, no, you know what? I'm going to wait in the car. You go inside, do it. Cause I don't want to be the only asshole that's not wearing my mask in the store.
Don't want those glares.
Right. It's not worth it. I'm here to have a good time.
Hell no.
I don't want.
So I try to look at the bright side of it. Is we have a lot of really ugly people in this town. So now I'm not going to have to look at all of their faces.
That's a good, perfect. This is something we should build off. You know what I mean? Like if you don't look at ugly people, if you don't have to worry about
glass half full
smiling,
kind of guy.
if you don't want to have people, before all this stuff happened, it was still like if I was going to go to a coffee shop and I saw somebody fringe that I knew, I didn't want to waste my time talking to him. I didn't want to have a Larry David awkward small talk, And so like when you have a mask,
you pretend you don't know.
Hat down, mask. It's very tough for them to recognize.
Oh, Joey's big time on me. He doesn't know who I am. Now you got the mask and you're like, sorry. I had no idea.
Perfect excuse.
I had no idea.
That's a big thing locally. Small town. My mom can't go through a grocery store without running into 12 people she knows. And she can go through a store and she'll walk right past somebody she went to high school with and she's known for 40 years. They don't even know who each other are. It's just like, hey, so now my mom's grocery trips are probably down in time frame like 60 or 70%. Just based on the fact that she's got a mask on. They don't know who she is.
Those are speeding through.
Two very big positives of the mask. Yeah.
All right. So I have a black mask. Now you've got a mask that has detail on it.
I bounce around. I have the nurse one. I have the sky. Yeah. So I bounce around.
So I've had a black mask they gave me from work, and I said it's too small, can't wear it. And then I ordered the Wood Brothers Racing Team. They had some, and I told Zach about it. And we both ordered a couple, and it fits me pretty well. But the Indy 500, no matter what happens, if they're letting people in the Indy 500, I'm going to the Indy 500.
Yes.
Got to wear a mask. Well, I have a black mask that I have on the front of my face. I'm like, that's not going to work.
How can you drink all the beers?
Well, okay, that's the loophole I figured out too. We'll get to that. But I ordered a white fishing mask. I'm like, if dudes can wear a fishing, you're out there for a sun cover, I can wear a light.
That's why I ordered like a buff or a neck gaiter.
Yeah.
And like you can wear it around your neck. You just pull it out.
That's
I'll
the easiest
okay.
one. Yeah.
So I ordered that. It's white. I figure I'm not going to get burnt. I'll be fine. So that was my concession. The day they said you got to wear a mask to the 500, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. And then I'm like, you know what? They're really, I'm sure that they're saying that you have to wear the damn thing, and you're going to have to wear it when you come in the gate, or they're going to give you one. If you're in the bathrooms, you're going to wear one. If you're in a tunnel, you're going to have to wear one. If you're sitting in your camp, like a tailgate area, and you're eating, you're probably not going to have to wear a mask. You're eating a hot dog or you're drinking a beer. You're probably not going to wear a mask at that moment.
Well, is that, I didn't think like the infield stuff was allowed. Like, can you go
I've
turn 3?
I've got a turn 3 parking pass, so I'm fully expecting, I've still got it. It's still valid. So they're not going to have the snake pit and that other stuff, but
shoot them linking up with you.
I'm going to be in the infield, turn 3, pop up, and we're still going to hang out. You've got a camping pass. You're going to be outside in lot 2 or whatever.
And they said that those spots are going to be bigger. I think they said the infield capacity is going to be down 90%. They're going to be running infield at 10%, grandstands at 25%. So
we're going to be more spread out than normal for if it's 10% of the crowd and they don't have the snake pit area. It's going to be the most luxurious, laid-back Indy 500 ever.
It sounds like the ideal Indy 500 that I've been wanting.
It's going to be great. You've got space. you've got your food, your drink, whatever. You hang out, low stress. climb up, go hang out in your seats for a couple hours. We'll get back. It's going to be,
we're a month away.
It's going to be super chill. I know.
Traffic won't be too bad getting in or out.
You can't get in until 8 o'clock, so I can get up at 5:30 in the morning instead.
I mean, they're going to keep it under 100,000 people. Each grandstand, like in the turns, holds 37,500 people. So they have all the people on the property would be able to fit in one turn of the grandstand if you packed them all in there. So yeah, it's going to be quiet. So
it's going to be like Carb Day, but spread out amongst the entire property.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, but they mentioned like you're supposed to have them in the campgrounds and everything, and I was messaging back and forth to them. I was like, you know what's going to be a real good idea? Have a bottle of water with you so you can be sipping.
Yeah, if you're always drinking a drink, you're good.
But they're going to for the 500, they're going to put stickers on every seat you can't sit in. Some poor guy between now and then is going to put up 200,000 stickers.
That's wild.
I'm going to try and take.
That's why ticket sales end tomorrow.
Yeah,
so that they can start stickering.
Start stickering.
So when you're out in turn 3, are they going to have are they going to have people like walking around like Hunger Games style, like checking to see like if you have, like enforcing that, or what's the?
So I think it's still going to be. Doug Bowles yesterday in his media availability said they're going to ask fans to police each other, right? So they're going to hold each other accountable. And then the yellow shirts are going to say, hey, man.
Like a nightmare.
So I'm feeling like you're going to have 5 or 6 warnings before you get thrown out. And they're like, we will ask you to leave eventually. If you totally refuse and you're an asshole, you're going to be asked to leave. But it's probably going to escalate 3 or 4 times.
The official plan said it would be yellow shirts first, and you get a warning. And if you didn't listen to the first yellow shirt, then you get the supervisor, so you can get out with the tan hat. And then if that
Zach knows the protocol.
Yeah, I skimmed the 88 page.
The tan hat guy.
I've seen
his name is Phil, and he's a
Rick
peach.
Actually. Rick. I could give you his last name too. I know a supervisor there, and he doesn't know me. And then if you're still being resistant at that point, you're probably going to be combative too. Then they'll call the police in, and then you could be escorted from the property. But I think that they'll be pretty understanding as long as if you can handle a yellow shirt normally, then you should be fine.
I just feel like in that situation, like you're in your own space, you're eating, you're drinking. If you have it around your neck, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the normal, I feel like it's the golden rule. As long as you're with your group and you're socially distanced and you're okay, probably not going to get messed with.
Yeah.
But if you have a massive group and you get 100 people together and they're starting to stand too close and they're not doing the right things, then now we're going to have a problem. But I got a feeling it's going to be a live and let live deal.
And that's like, so an Indy, like the Rathskeller, few like 16-bit, few like outdoor venue type bars. You have to have the mask to get in, right? And they're very strict about that. It's like, if you don't have one, you're not getting in. Sure. You have the mask to get in. But I mean, it's just really hard at the end of the day to enforce that. You know what I mean? To like, if you have a group of I don't know. I mean, definitely different than what's going to be at the 500, but even at like the Rathskeller, when you're out in the beer garden, I don't know, maybe like 150, maybe like 250 people, 300 people out there. And it's like, some people have them around their necks. Some people don't have them at all. Some people just take them off. It's really hard to enforce that. You know what I mean? It's just like that deal of like, have them when you come in, have them with you. And then you kind of have to, like you said, police each other. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's an always evolving target, right? Like earlier this week, Greg Doyle was in the Indy Star and he absolutely slayed Eddie Gossage for having an event at Texas last week. Racing's been on the forefront of having these events. Indianapolis is getting ready to have the biggest sporting event that we've had since the pandemic started, with even 80,000 people showing up at the Speedway. Yep. And he took Roger Penske to task for saying you're going to have 150,000 people together. And then the Speedway made their announced this 90-page plan, and there was a very lovely story from Doyle yesterday in the Star saying, hey, it's kind of informed consent. Everybody knows what they're getting into. We'll see. He said, I'm going to go, right? He was, the Star has been very tough. They've been very aggressive on policing this, and they've been a major critic of the events.
Like I said, scanning the plan, if anyone wants to know how crazy it is, they're going to have shaded areas for people to stand in line because they're going to check your temperature every day. You come in, you get a wristband every day that you come in after you get your temperature checked. And then every day they're going to give you a packet with a mask and hand sanitizer.
Everybody that comes on the
everybody that comes on the property, and that's for every day. So for every practice day, every qualification day, you'll get a wristband. They'll check your temperature. They even thought of the shade thing because somebody was like, "What happens if you're staying in the sun for 10 minutes waiting to get it?" And they hit. And, well, okay, and it even says in the plan you'll have a shaded area. There'll be a person whose sole job is to direct you to the shortest line to get you through there. But like, I mean, how much money is he going to spend to have that much hand sanitizer for wild. All the qualification days, practice days, all those days?
And so if you're like me and you've got a parking pass, you're going to roll in and you roll down the windows on both sides of the car. Everybody in the car gets the temperature gun. As long as you all pass, you're good. If somebody doesn't pass, you don't get ejected. You get pulled into a secondary screening and then they talk to you and they give you an actual oral thermometer because if you were just hot,
sure,
they're not going to throw you out. So it's as well thought out plan as I've seen anybody offer.
When do you usually get there? Carb day? Thursday?
It's always different. So race day, we're the 6 a.m. when the gates open. Yeah. And I normally try to go to a practice day or two and qualifying days.
Yeah.
This year I may just go race day. I'm not certain. Okay. Zach will be there every day and
I'm camping. I'll be there.
Yeah. So. It depends. Awesome. It depends. I've done carb day in the past, but this year carb day is going to be very different.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
So I'm, for the qualifying weekend last year, I was at up in Wisconsin for a wedding. I really like to consume what's happening and actually watch the timing and scoring and data and other stuff. So I'm good in person. If I don't feel like I'm going to be there enough in the month, I don't buy the credentials and I'll just watch on the live app or whatever and pay for my NBC Gold, and I do it that way. So that's kind of what I'm planning on doing this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, you never know. I don't know if I'll go to carb day, but I'll be there on race day, whether it's media or fan or whatever.
Yep. We'll be turn 3 infield having a good time. So Chase is going to bitch out on me and go to Michigan though. So
we'll see.
You can't. There's no. We'll see tomorrow. If you think you're going
50-50,
$35. Buy your ticket tomorrow, and we're good. But don't be like,
you're probably gonna have so much space you can set up your own carport in turn 3.
Oh yeah, it should be. It's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
I got to get on that. I got to get a ticket.
Yeah. Let us know.
And they said you won't have anybody next to you, and you won't have anybody in front of you, and you won't have anybody behind you in the grandstands if you have a grandstand seat.
All right, so sports are back. Indy 500 is the tip of the spear.
Yes,
Guffey,
sir.
how do you feel about your Washington's football team?
Yes.
The Washington football team?
I was going to mention that. The Washington football team. It's going to be so amazing. That's the name.
You don't have any tattoos, do you, Christopher?
Nope. Don't have any.
You know what the most shocking thing is how old is their owner?
Dan Snyder?
Yeah. I think I saw a picture of him. He did not look old enough to be that tone deaf.
He's just
because I listen to Bottom Tom. Chick's been calling for this for years. He said they've stopped. A lot of places don't even acknowledge what the name of the team is. And I was like, oh, this has to be one of those like crazy 89-year-old owners that's just a billionaire like the Raiders owner.
He's owned it for 20 years and he bought him.
He looks like he could be. Yeah. He's probably because he's rich, but he looks like he could be like
$2.6 billion net worth.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. Tough to care about a lot of shit when you got that much money. You know what I mean? Like
he's got screw you money. I don't care. Greg Easterbrook's been banging the drum for 20 years, calling him the Washington D.C. Indigenous DC drainage basin indigenous people. I think
I was kind of thinking like
the Potomac drainage basin indigenous people is what he's called them.
I thought it could be kind of interesting if they would have kind of gone like the Syracuse route and they just would have become the Washington Red.
Yeah,
like like the Syracuse Orange or the Stanford Cardinal. Just the red. But I'd probably give some bad still. They would think
they kept the colors.
Former name.
I don't know. It's weird. Like it's a big undoing, and they announced today that they're going to keep the colors, go like Alabama football, and just put the player's number on the helmets for the year, and that's what they're going to do.
All I got to say is I have a Facebook memory 5 years ago where I said the Washington Sentinels. I like the name. I'm just saying I was ahead of the curve.
Red Tails would be cool. They toss around red tails.
The Red Tails, I thought would have been
like that.
Interesting.
We talked about
Red Hawks,
the Warriors a couple weeks ago.
Wolves,
the Washington Warriors,
Red Wolves. Yep.
But then does Warriors still kind of?
I don't know. Ask Golden State. Or are they Golden State? What are they? What are the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah.
But their logo isn't.
I mean, it could be any type of warrior, I guess.
That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I went to my grade school, 1st through 8th grade, St. Barnabas Warriors, and we had a giant, Native American chief as our mascot.
So my dad and Jim DeShays went to Messina Central High School, and they were the Red Raiders, Indians. Now they're the Raiders, and they're more like the the Los Angeles or the
Las Vegas
Raiders. It's more of a badass than an Indian.
Cool.
But that's been done too.
That's what's. I mean, like the Cleveland Indians. I mean, when's that happening? Right.
Chief Wahoo got ejected.
Chief Wahoo's no more, but you would think that. I mean,
where do you draw the line though?
Are the
Kansas City
Redskins
Chiefs a problem?
though? That sounds racist. You hear Indians, not as bad. It's on the line.
Redskins. Everybody can agree. Redskins was a problem.
Yeah, Redskins was racist.
Right.
I mean, it's an actual
But then you got the
derogatory term for a
Braves.
group of people. Like,
You got the Braves. Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with the Braves, but my opinion doesn't matter. So I don't.
Yeah, but the tomahawk chop thing in the '90s that you would get, that's gone now.
Well,
right?
I was born in
Tomahawk
'95, so I don't know.
God damn it, Chase! Stop making me feel old. Okay, get on my knee and let me tell you about Tom Glavine.
Yeah, but
the first major league game I went to was Braves at Expos. Yeah.
You
Very first one.
You brought up the Rays earlier, and I was like, "Oh, Randy Johnson, the guy that killed the bird." I don't know how long ago that was.
Say the Devil Rays. I don't know. All right, so we're gonna have the ultimate epic.
Hold on. What about Mike Tyson stepping back in the ring?
Is he gonna have to face Holyfield?
No, Roy
it's an
Jones.
exhibition.
Roy Jones Jr. Yeah. 8 rounds.
Wait, is that official?
I think it'd be more fun if he was.
Is that official?
Think it'd be more fun if it was Roy
Yeah, it's
Wood.
official. No, but like I've seen videos of him, and
He looks like
he's still
a
fast.
beast.
Oh, dude,
Still fast.
he's a bull, man. You could freaking.
There's no way.
knock any of us
Even
out.
he's like 53, 54. Ain't no way in hell I'm stepping in the ring with him.
Nah, just
never.
He was.
I get a fear boner for sure.
He was big time overweight.
That's what you call your random.
Yeah, I
bonus.
saw a picture of him like a few years ago, and
Yeah.
he was fat, and now he's just ripped.
And he got ripped again. Yeah, so that'll be
Definite
fun.
boner.
September 12th will be added in. Everything else that's going on.
So 2020, everybody shit on 2020 all year long. This is the worst thing ever.
Sure.
Now, the NFL is starting in 50 days. The NBA starts next week. There's Major League Baseball. Somebody's not wearing their mask and the siren is off outside the jail, the common wall we share with the jail. I'm watching the Yankees and Washington Nationals right now.
Nice.
My Expos, they got moved, stolen from the fine people of Canada. There's a NASCAR race on right now that for some reason we're not watching. IndyCar is in the middle of their season.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey's coming back,
Yeah, it is.
right?
Baby.
We've got, I don't even know. I mean,
The Masters
soccer.
plan for October,
the 3M
I believe.
tournament was happening right now.
Got soccer.
And as soon as we finish the NBA season from last year, we're going to do it again. College football is supposed to be starting up. We're going to have like 9 to 10 major sports happening at the same moment.
Yeah, the 2020 has big time, redemption vibes. They have a big chance to really bring it together here in the second half with all those things that you said. So fingers crossed, man.
How many TVs do you have in your living room, Joey? And what's enough? We're going to B-dubs after this, but how many TVs do you reasonably think you need to have?
See, usually what happens at my folks' place is that's our kind of compound, and we'll get 3 TV screens out there, and then we'll have a laptop up on like
That's what I consider the Potters.
on like
is
a
my compound.
yeah, like a Sunday of football. You know what I mean? So that probably will be happening regularly, hopefully here in the fall. So at least 4 screens.
Damn it. Jimmy Johnson's winning the NASCAR race right now. I didn't put that bet in.
So
Plus 3,900. I almost did it.
Johnson,
I go to Jeremiah's in-laws a lot to watch sports, and I have actually purchased a TV for their house that we put up on the wall.
Very
So
nice.
we are at 3 TVs over there at the Potters, I believe.
I think 3
Yeah.
TVs is good.
Yeah.
It's like it's not too overwhelming to try to balance everything. But
I started this in our living room. Zach, you've had like 6 TVs in 6 months, but you'd only get one at a time.
Let's not talk about that.
He's got a 3-year-old that throws shit at the TV and just breaks them.
Yeah, he broke like 2 TVs in like a month, and then he broke another one last year. I hadn't bought a TV for like my entire life, and I bought 4 TVs in the last year and a half.
I mean, like I feel like the first one you're definitely pissed, but then by like the 4th one, it's like this is kind of now.
He's got it. He's got it on video. He's got cameras set up in the house.
The second one I have on video because the second one, the first one and third one were accidents. The second one, he walked up and took a piece of metal and just like ping and hit it. And I have the video of just before and just after the impact, like him looking at it and going, ee, and like scurrying away. And yeah, that one I just was like, I just didn't want to talk to anybody for a while.
So Tyson's coming back. Jared, did you hear Coach Doug's retired?
Coach what? Doug Collins?
You don't know who Coach Doug's is?
Gus Duggerton. He went out on top.
Yeah, he did.
Brought LSU another national title.
He doesn't know who Doug's is because he's 80 years old.
Here's the thing. I love Joey like a brother, and I try to connect so hard, but 80% of the stuff Joey does is college based, and I don't think
that's true.
The Kocho stuff and the Saban thing, and to me, Saban,
he's got a new one where it's
so if you're making
boy,
a college reference, I'm dense, is what I'm saying.
Ben Shapiro.
Oh, dude,
you got a new Ben Shapiro.
I dropped a Ben Shapiro. Did fairly well.
It's really good.
Thank you.
But to me, Saban is still the guy that quit Miami and has it coming, right? Like that's in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, Saban is Michigan State. He won that championship at LSU.
Yeah, how weird is that?
And that's where I remember that very vividly. Remember him winning the national championship, holding up the trophy.
Yeah.
All of that,
the crystal ball,
the crystal football, and then going to Miami and then quitting. I'm not quitting. I'm not leaving this job. Next day he's in freaking Alabama, and I've still been waiting for it to not work out, and it seems to be going just fine.
It's going very well. But this is Doug's isn't even me. I mean, I've had a hand in some of it, but it's a fake coach.
Yeah, so
it's a video
Big Cat
game coach
from Barstool. He when sports shit the bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
He started playing NCAA football on
Xbox.
And he'd stream it to Twitch.
Okay.
And it's like what, a 7-year-old video game, something like that along the lines. Like I think the last one was 2014. So do the math. And he just he was already famous, but like it just blew up him playing a 7-year-old video game.
Yeah, he just created this coach out of nowhere, like the most stereotypical like football coach, like dipping the lip, like
and
overweight.
Then the best part about it is he created this coach. You know, he's a big guy, and then this random guy it looks exactly like him in real life, and he created a Twitter account of him.
It's insane. It's totally like I was like, did you know that guy? And then he's like, I literally that was just by chance. So yeah, but he went on top, so he finished up right in time for sports to start. It was a big thing over quarantine.
That is amazing.
Yeah, he had literally would have 75,000 people watching
on
Twitch video game. Yeah, it was crazy. Hey, we're desperate times call for desperate measures, baby.
Look, iRacing on NBC was an appointment thing for me. So it is
absolutely
nobody. When we explain this to future generations, nobody's going to understand the suffering and what socially made sense and what we were so desperate for.
Hopefully.
I wonder how many kids, because kids do watch that. Kids watch Twitch and stuff. I wonder how many kids were making fun of their parents for watching iRacing stuff. Like, I thought watching video games was stupid, Dad.
Yeah. 6 months ago, I was watching Minecraft, learning how to do something with redstone, and now here you are. Yeah.
Great call, man.
Watching the halfback dive. Yeah.
Well, I get my brother or my son, my 7-year-old watches. We don't even have Minecraft. He's watching Minecraft videos all the time. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, YouTube and Twitch.
My little cousins watch the weirdest shit.
He's found I'd shut YouTube off on his tablet. There's some of those guys that have deals with Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I was like, I'm sick of listening to this. And then now he watches some guy, he sounds like Zach Braff off of Scrubs.
You've mentioned this before. Yeah.
And so I hear this guy, I'm like, why is he? I'm like, oh, it's the guy from Scrubs narrating video games again. But these guys have deals. And
boy, is his career taking a dive.
I'm like, but he's watching this on Amazon Prime Video. So these guys are getting paid by Amazon.
Yeah.
To play video games. I'm like,
big thing, man.
It's frustrating. But I'm like, well, my kid loves watching it. And he's like, I want to get Minecraft now. I'm like, no, not yet.
Is it a weird feeling when you have an athlete retweet you or something?
I mean, it's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's surreal. Yeah. It's, definitely like, whoa, crazy. Like, when I met Johnny on last Monday, I made a point. I don't golf. So I was like, AC, I'll be there. But I literally just don't.
Can I drive the beverage cart?
Yes.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's what I was doing. I had
Yeah.
my buddy riding around with me, and I was just driving from hole to hole. Just I found Menzel and I parked, and I got out, and I was just like, hey, had to say hey to Johnny Football, man, blah blah blah. And he was just like, hey, Joey, it's about time we met, man. And I was like, oh. No, that's surreal. Like so,
knows who you are.
Shit like that is very. I mean, surreal would be the best way to put it. It's very very wild, but yeah, I mean, it's cool.
All right. Who's the craziest person that knew who you were before you didn't have to introduce yourself? You recall?
Chase Peyton.
No.
And have you had to do any invitations for the person while they're standing there?
Oh man, so I had to when the combine was in town. The people from the Saints actually reached out to me, and they were like, "Hey, come to dinner with us at our team dinner at Prime 47 in Indy, and we want you to like perform for us." And I was like, "Oh man," I mean, it's like that sounds great, but terrifying at the same time. So okay,
sounds great, but I don't normally do this, so we're learning together.
Yes. And so they were like, well, "We want you to do Sean Payton." So they sent me a Saints quarter zip. They sent me a Saints visor that I still have. And I was trying to get Sean Payton down, their head coach, and he's tough, man. He kind of just like talks like a normal guy, has a little bit of like a Southern drawl maybe. And so I'm literally the whole team, all the coaches, all the staff, the fucking owner, the media people, they're all in this side room. I'm up there at the front, and I'm wearing my Sean Payton stuff, and I didn't have Sean Payton down, man. And it was I quickly pivoted to get away from that one.
You go to Kocho, right?
Well, and I started just like, instead of impersonating Sean Payton, I just started making fun of Sean Payton, and they all got a kick out of that. And then I just like went to like Kocho and like Mel Kiper from ESPN and just like different people like that. So
which fall sport is Kocho most excited about, do you think? Other than college football. Yeah. We're getting into the golden era. What's Kocho most ready for?
Look at all these here. I think Kocho,
is he a hockey fan?
I think he might be a NASCAR fan. Down there in the South, out there with Ray Baker. There's a whole lot of fun going down there. A lot of Tigers down there. So go watch a little bit of racing in NASCAR.
Kocho's a big Bubba Wallace fan. Kocho's in the Richard Petty 43.
Yes.
Oh, man. There you go, Mason. I did that for you. He was begging. He was begging for something. And then the other one that was like, man, the moment I'm like, Joey's really arrived. There were two things.
Okay.
It was the holy shit. I've never seen anybody go to Barstool and then get an intro video that included like Joey's the draft pick, right? Like Rich Eisen was in the video announcing that you were at Barstool.
Yeah.
Surreal.
Rich he's a very, very good, he's a great guy. He's awesome. And, but it was funny. So when I came up with that idea, I was like, how do I want to announce this? Blah, blah, blah. And I texted Dave Portnoy. And I was like, hey, I want to do this like draft type of thing. And I want to see if you'd be like the commissioner and lead it off. He's like, yeah, for sure. And then later that day or the next day, I'm at my previous job. I'm on my last week of work there.
Just screwing off.
And all of a sudden I look down and Dave Portnoy's calling me. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, what did he find? Like, am I in trouble? This is, I was very nervous. And then he just wanted to know how to pronounce my name. And then he fucked it up anyways. So, usually it's pronounced Mulinaro, and he was like, Mulinaro.
It doesn't sound like he's screwing it up. It sounds like he's saying like Dave.
Like Dave
right?
Portnoy.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. So in his head, he was saying Mulinaro, but it came out that way. But it was really funny. But yeah, Rich is an awesome guy. Yeah.
And then the other one was when there would start to be, and this is all in the November-December thing, and everybody's telling Frank Caliendo, you need to do at Coach O. And he says, no, Joey does Coach O, right? Like the deference of like, no, you guys don't understand that Joey is the top of the game. Like he's it. I'm like, man,
yeah,
I was blown away for you. Like that was awesome.
I was going to say, have you interacted with Caliendo? Because he's kind of that, for the NFL, he's kind of that guy.
Yeah, no, definitely. Frank is, I looked up to Frank forever. I mean, when he used to be on like Mike and Mike back in the day, me and my family.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I know, but like it was like appointment viewing.
Oh, same and samer. Stop it over there.
My parents would like record it,
Steve
so then I
forever,
could come home after school and watch Frank on Mike and Mike because it was just so good. And yeah, so he's always been somebody of like, it's the best. And he's been great to like, he doesn't like think I'm stepping on his turf, or he just has like embraced me and like taken me in, and we're friends now. We talk on a pretty regular basis, and we've done a couple of videos together. And so Frank's been awesome.
What was more exciting, getting to work for Barstool or getting a video you posted in high school on Tosh.0?
Definitely Barstool. It was more trouble that came with the Tosh.0 thing. So, I guess maybe at the time, being 18 and all that stuff, it was really exciting. But no, it definitely doesn't compare to where we are now. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to move into final thoughts, but I just want to mention real quick before we get into final thoughts that I am so thankful to have water again. Newcastle was a third world country because we had an explosion.
Been following on Facebook. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for the boil order to end, because I was like, you can't keep kids from like trying to drink their bath water. And I like walked down like day one.
The life you live just scares the hell out of me, Zach.
I looked down at Ellen's glass. I'm like, where'd you get that water from? I'm like, that's not from the faucet, is it? I'm like, is that because it was like, is that lemonade, like weak lemonade or water? He's like, it's water. I'm like, don't drink that. And like, he just got himself and at that point the water wasn't clear yet. So.
We had, so Sarah and I were coming home Tuesday night from my nephew's Little League game in Knightstown, and she sees on Facebook that there's a water main break. I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, there's people that are saying that have water. I'm like, well, sucks for them. And then she keeps scrolling. She's like, oh, it says there's no water by Walmart. And it was, the first one was, it was over like downtown over here in this side of town. I'm like, we'll be fine. I'm friends with Greg. He's in charge. He says it's a big loop. No big deal. It's fine. And then she's like, it's out by Walmart, which is right by our house. I'm like, oh no, this is bad.
And if you saw where the water main break was, it's across town from there. And like, it's about as far as you can away from that break as you can
And it
get.
turns out it was like the main line coming out of the water plant.
Oh man.
So it turned into the most like a once in a lifetime generational sinkhole in between all these houses behind the Kroger, and it drained every bit of water out of the 3 water towers in town, and it was bone dry. And the newspaper was Travis, our friend Travis, was down there taking pictures and keeping everybody updated from the city. Everybody in the area updated, and it was just unreal. Like, it was like lose a man inside of this hole. It looked like you could fit. It was probably a 50 by 50 hole in the pictures, 10 feet deep. They had 6 pumps running. Every bit of water in the system was all dumping on this little intersection. And these guys are out there with a thunderstorm coming in. I was just like, this is
confirmed
crazy.
I think it like flooded the Kroger parking lot, because it was also a low spot in town. It's down at the bottom of the hill, and it's like a block from the water treatment plant. And I think it might have even flooded down there, just them pumping the water out. And it did. Yeah. It broke at like 5:30, and I get up in the morning. I'm like, do I have water yet? And I look, and Travis is posting pictures from like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, they can almost see the water main now. And I was like, oh my God.
I woke up at 6 a.m. and I set the alarm, and I went to the bathroom sink and turned it on. There was nothing. Like, oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. So we had to go to the in-laws' house and shower over there. And then you can't make coffee. You can't flush your toilets. All of these problems. It's like, I had no idea how much.
Yeah, everything's connected.
You don't think about it. So I was so thankful they got it back on. But it's going to be a couple days before we can drink our water.
Even when they got back on, they're like, please wait to use it. We have to refill all the water towers. I was like, you never think about having to fill a water tower.
That's a lot of water.
3 of them.
3 of them. Yeah.
Surreal. So thank you to Mayor York, Greg Phipps, and everybody else at the water plant. So happy to be back on. And now we can start to position ourselves. Work into final thoughts. Producer Chris.
I don't have a lot of final thoughts.
Right,
you should check out the Patreon side.
Yeah. You had a very interesting story.
Yes, interesting conversation.
I'll tease it by just saying we're not going to get too attached to Guffey over there.
Yeah, maybe not.
Check it out at any level, and you'll find out why.
Bitch.
Chase, buddy. You and I, every time we go fishing, we talk about Joey. Here he is. This is your chance. Pour your heart out to him.
A couple months ago, we were fishing. I was like, dude, have you seen how much Joey's blown up? He's got like 250K on Twitter. I was like, that's insane.
I'm like, is that a lot? How many do I have? 200. Oh, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
No, I want to congratulate you because you
Thanks,
are now
man.
officially the second most famous person that I've ever met.
Nice.
Right behind Vice President Mike Pence, but you are definitely the most popular person.
Hey, both Indiana boys, so that's
right.
not bad, you know?
No, I've been a fangirl of Barstool for like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years. I've been listening to PMT ever since
yeah.
it started,
The
basically.
best, yeah.
So like I followed you for a while. I'm super happy for you, and
Thanks, man.
thanks for coming on because you're
course.
way cooler than us. So
No, of course. Thank you for following.
that's all I
awesome.
got.
That's it. And now you're
Go
wavering on the
Yankees.
Indy 500. All right. How are we doing on the bets? You gonna win? Yankees are winning. Then you need Dodgers tonight.
Dodgers are late cats.
They're 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah. We'll catch a little bit of that.
All right, Joey. How do people follow you? What do they do? What's the
Yeah. So final thoughts. Thanks to you guys again. This is always a blast coming out here. I love coming out. This is really a dream studio. I mean, this is awesome. It's what you guys have done. It's really, really, really cool, and I admire it a lot.
Thank you so much to
yeah.
the Patreon people. You make it happen.
Yeah.
This is a hobby that you guys, all we have to do is show up. So thank you to that crowd.
Well, yeah. Thank
Yes.
you guys for having me. Thank you to them to be able to make this possible. You can follow me pretty much everywhere at Joey Mulinaro. Joey, the typical way, Mulinaro, Mulinaro. My final thought would be I have the Cup of Joey series that I've started up with Barstool. It's essentially just two people, enjoying a conversation over a cup of coffee. So I bring in somebody that I'm friends with or that I find interesting, and and I interview them. I just started up this past week. PFT commenter from Pardon My Take, my buddy. That episode is live. I just interviewed a special guest for episode 2 today. Christian McCaffery from the Carolina Panthers.
I noticed you guys were kind of giving him hell on Instagram the other day.
Yeah, I was giving him a little bit of shit.
When you interview him, is it in person or is it like over?
Just over Zoom. Yeah.
Now he makes Christian fly to Indianapolis to come to his
did
Starbucks.
see him. Is he as sexy as?
Oh man, he's perfect. I told my wife, I was like, he's just like the way better. He's blonde hair, blue eyes. I was like, he's just the way better looking version of me, and way better at football. But
this is where I feel old. I was a fan of his dad.
I was a fan of Ed.
I mean, Ed won 2 Super Bowls with Elway. It was great.
Yeah, he was the man. But so each Monday, I'm trying to hit an episode of that. It'll be about 15, 20 minutes long. Again, just a conversation over a cup of coffee. And you guys are actually the first people to know that I locked up Christian. So
that's amazing.
Breaking news here on Boss Hog, but that'll be coming out Monday. It'll be on Barstool's website, all over my social medias and everything. So be sure to check that out.
Very fun. Mm-hmm. Zach, what you got for me, man?
I don't have much. Check out the Patreon. There's some good stuff in the Patreon this time. Get to listen about Guffey.
Way better than other times.
Yeah. And at my expense, some of it. But just, check out the show. Thanks to the water department for staying up all night. And then I saw that Greg was at work the next day.
All day.
Having not had. He's still wearing his boots.
I told his daughter, Katie Jo, I said, make sure he took a nap today. She's like, he never came home. He stayed out all day. That sounds about right.
So that was a bit, it was much. It was a nightmare for citizens. I can't imagine. You saw pictures of him like hanging down in the hole.
It looked like one of those where you've got guys that are literally like held on by their belt, and so they're underwater trying to do stuff. It's just, and it's not clean water, right? It's horrific.
Muddy, nasty, and it broke like a half an hour after they got off of work. I bet.
Yeah,
because it broke at 5:30 in the evening. So I bet they're like, probably just sat down for dinner, and like, guess what? You're not going to be home till for 12 or 13 hours.
Yeah, and by the way, when you get home, you can't shower either. I wanted to bring up to Zach. Have you got Peacock yet on your on the app on the phone?
Haven't.
Lost Racetracks with Dale Earnhardt Jr. He came to Indiana. He came to the Jungle Speedway, the Jungle Track.
I was just listening to Dale Jr. before at work today. I was knocking out the Red Farmer and getting into Martin.
Little Mark Martin. You're a couple weeks behind. You got to check that out.
Yeah, I was on vacation. I didn't listen to anything while I was on vacation. I tried to driving home, and then I broke a wheel.
You act like you act like going on vacation. Podcasts are work, and you don't.
But my vacation is so ideal. I get up, I eat kids cereal in the morning. It was Trix was the cereal of the week. Walk down off the deck onto the beach, play on the beach, up for lunch, back to the beach, come back up, out for dinner. But like when you have a house on the beach, I'm never sitting still long enough. And I have kids. I couldn't have worn like earbuds on they would have washed away.
That's ideal. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Zach is so routine oriented. You've done this every year of your existence.
Every year since 1984. Yeah.
Always.
Same beach, same mile of beach. Like the farthest away is there's the farthest house from that one I recall staying in was like, there's one that was way down in the 80s, but like from the 90 on, it's the farthest house away from where I'm staying now is a half a mile.
It's awesome.
So
That's crazy. All right. And the last one I had real quick from me is I wanted to shout out. I know your boy Dave Portnoy was in town and he got some corn on the cob from a place that was shipped to him. And I thought he came to Markle. I thought he came to Indiana. I'm like, Joey, the boss man's in town. Are you going to get him on the show Thursday night too? But Ellen Cade was sharing that and saying, hey, I think that's the best sweet corn. Our sweet corn up here on State Road 3. Sweet corn is in here in town. So you got to grill it. You got to get you a little.
All right. Cool.
So
and the beef's great.
And check that out too. Thank you guys all for supporting the show. We appreciate everybody showing up. Give us a like, subscribe, share. Shoot me an email, Jeremiah@bosshogliberty.com. We don't ask you to rate us in iTunes very much, but that helps us pop up the ranks a little bit. So 5 stars in there, unless you're my mom, then give me 4 because you just grade me on the curve. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.